Okay, this is the Palestine Action Group in Sydney. They've got no clue about the peace deal and what's going on over there. Let's see.
We must also right now call out the role of foreign governance and interference. International and foreign entities are being proposed to govern or supervise Gaza under the ceasefire plan and reconstruction schemes. This is with no Palestinian consent or oversight, a complete attack on Palestinian self-determination and our liberation.
She seems like an agitator. She's just being an agitator for mind. And you've got these useless idiots just following along.
In what world do Palestinians have to negotiate to end their genocide by consenting to the butchers of Gaza and Iraq, Donald Trump and Tony Blair to rule over their strip?
I can tell you in what world. In the world where Hamas disrupts the peace of Israel and murders and slayings over 1,200 people. That world, lady.
And right here in Australia, there are clear actions that we continue to demand from our government. We demand that the Australian government sanction Israel now. Targeted, meaningful sanctions, applying pressure until all their obligations under international law are met.
And let me just say, don't underestimate this silly Australian government. They've fallen for a lot of this and allowed it to go too far against the will of the common Australian people. We're not interested in any of this rubbish. It doesn't belong here. Now, this woman's an agitator. I'm surprised she's allowed to be up there saying this stuff, given the circumstances of the area right now. She doesn't sound like she wants peace. She doesn't sound like she wants things to be resolved. Could you imagine if President Donald Trump walked in there and heard this rubbish? Anthony Albanese couldn't care less. He doesn't know what day it is. Penny Wong and Albanese are making out they've contributed to the peace process. They've done nothing except reward Hamas. And just by the way, right now as I speak, Hamas have come out of the tunnels in their military uniforms, and there's isolated cell exchanges, gunshots between Palestinian people and Hamas. The Palestinian people don't want them in certain areas. Certain tribes don't want them. So there's people being kneecapped by Hamas. Some Hamas people have been shot. It's a mess. They're trying to police the area, but nobody's acknowledging their authority. But look at this. This is in Sydney. This woman is an agitator, and she has to be treated as such.
We know that throughout history, Israel is capable of bombing Gaza again. It is capable of exterminating the Palestinians in Gaza, and the only thing that will stop them is if countries like Australia and countries around the world mobilize to turn Israel into the pariah state that it is and isolate it.
That didn't make, that's what's called illusional reality. Because Israel is not intentionally setting out to harm Gazan people. There's a war going on over there which was started by the Palestinian government, which is Hamas. Now, none of this is being mentioned by this person. She should be up there saying, right, well, Hamas is on the ropes. We can finally get rid of them. We can finally get some sanity in Gaza. And let's go along with that. But not this person. They want, if you listen to the language and the crux of what she's saying, all they want is the annihilation of Israel and the Jews, which is Antifada and the river to the sea narrative. There's no peace here in what this person's saying. There's no resolve in what this person's saying, and it's un-Australian and it doesn't belong here. Listen to the useless idiots. They don't even believe what she's saying in the background because they don't know. They've got no idea how entrenched Middle Eastern destructive mindsets are. Right? It's no point being the victim and saying, look, Palestine's been this and that, and Israel that and this. If you want to cross borders and butcher 1,200 people, expect to be punished. Expect to be wiped out. Oh no, we've got to do this, we've got to do that.
We cannot, under no circumstance, continue to maintain diplomatic relations with a genocidal regime.
Now, what genocide? That's what I want to know. What genocide? There hasn't been a genocide. Now, she needs to be confronted about that. But no, this again is the delusion that they're driving to keep these useless idiots. They're not even useful. These useless idiots turning up to these meetings. Right now, as she's provoking this crowd against Israel and encouraging its annihilation, which is anti-Semitism on the streets of Sydney, the Middle East is happy that Hamas is going to go down, or at least agree. It doesn't seem like they're going to agree. This is going to go bad. They've lost hostages' bodies, the dead bodies. They don't know where 10 of them are. They've come up out of the tunnels in their military uniforms, making out that they've had some kind of victory. This could go really bad for Hamas. If they provoke Trump and he just says, look, I've had enough of this, they're going to regret it. This is not about Israel genocide or anything like that. They could have pushed one button and flattened Gaza in a day. They've navigated this war, tiptoeing around the Gazan civilians and everything else. Hamas has spent years building an infrastructure in civilian homes and hospitals and childcare centres and whatnot, where they could fire rockets and go running down into the tunnels and hide like rats. And how this person's allowed, how this is even, I know, look, I don't care if you're allowed to protest. This isn't protest, this is demonstration. This is a demonstration of a pack of people that are just trying to provoke people on a false narrative. And it's anti-Semitic, it's relative to the annihilation of Israel. It's got nothing to do with peace. And it goes on and on and on and on.
We also call on the Australian government to end the two-ways arms trade with Israel, including any two-way aspects of it, no export license, no parts or components, no cooperation that contributes to the destruction of Gaza. That means withdrawing from the F-35 global supply chain. That means seizing our contracts with Elbit Systems.
They don't even know what she's talking about. They honestly don't even know what she's talking about.
We cannot, in this country, continue to facilitate the genocide in Gaza by arming the regime that is committing this genocide for profit.
She's breaking the law saying it's a genocide because it's not a genocide. It's the opposite. Okay, let's consider what a genocide is. Just bear with me for 1 minute. Viewers, this is what genocide looks like. Now, they're not feeding their prisoners or anything like this, the Nazis. They're putting the Jews on trains straight to the gas chambers. There it is. To say that what the Israelis are doing in Palestine is a genocide is criminal. It's offensive to those that suffered genocide. This is genocide. That's genocide. They're shipping them straight off like cattle to the concentration camps where they were gassed. Millions and millions of people gas shot you name it. That's genocide. A lot of these people got caught and hung and punished. And my thing is with, and I'm sure many of you would agree, what right's this person to be got sitting up there saying that what's going on in Palestine is a genocide? None.
Yay! It is absolutely shameful that right now Palestinians have had to negotiate the end of their genocide. Countries around the world, including Australia, should have isolated Israel, should have used every diplomatic power in their pockets to prevent this. History will remember them in shame. History will remember that our government's hands are stained with the blood of Palestinians. And history will remember that the people, that the masses right here rose to oppose it, and we did not stop.
Yeah.
Well, you should stop, because the situation's coming to a standstill. Now, if Hamas go against this deal, right, then what do you think's going to happen? Everybody's just going to stand there and let them go? No. This is just domestic agitation. It's not having any impact on the reality of what's going on in Gaza. The Australians have had enough of it.
Today we do not just remember the devastation over the past 2 years.
Is she talking about the devastation in the kibbutz? Is that what she's talking about? Is this what she's talking about when these people, these terrorists, took it upon themselves to go in and start shooting and destroying innocent people like this? I mean, I can't comprehend it. Look, that's not civilized, is it? They've just blown those people to bits in the car. Let's just be real about it. Do you think that's civilized? No. They took it upon themselves to attack Israel, and they didn't like it when Israel turned around and attacked back.
Of October 7. I want to try and make you comprehend. So I brought you here to this place near Shuva in the southern parts of Israel. It's a place where they gathered all the cars that got hit by the terrorists and got burnt by the terrorists on October 7. I've seen it before, and passengers and owners of the cars,
these are the
were
October
most
7
likely
cars, viewers.
dead,
You got this
were
idiot
murdered by the
standing up there on a pedestal in the streets of Sydney, taking no accountability or responsibility for this at all. They're not victims, they're agitators.
You know, these cars are owned by people that just wanted to have fun in a party at the Nova Festival, or were on their way from home or back to their homes, and they got caught. If
Look at
they're
this.
young, if they're married, if they're
This is Hamas, this is
you know,
Palestine. This is what they've done. And
for
they're
our
wondering,
life, for the
they're standing
existence of
there
the
saying
state of
that they're
Israel.
victims.
we're secure and we can live normal life.
Could you imagine these idiots
This
in
is
Sydney
one of the
driving around in these things wanting to shoot everyone and whatnot? That's what she's
fully
barracking for.
equipped with 10 to 15 terrorists in every car, equipped with machine gun and hand grenades and RPGs and lots of ammunition ready to create a
Death.
massacre.
There.
mints and a lot of the way, all the way to victory, to strength, and to making sure that this will never happen again.
And that's exactly what Israel was doing. Now you got these idiots.
Firm our demand for freedom, for justice, for accountability, for Palestinians' right to self-determination, for the release of all our prisoners, and for the removal of all instruments of war, occupation, genocide, and apartheid.
It's just the same rhetoric, the same repetitive scratch record rhetoric. Right now, all the Arab nations and everything else under the leadership of Donald Trump's trying to bring peace to the place. And these people are just ignoring it in the streets of Sydney. They're just ignoring it.
We stand here, not in silence, but in resolve for a free Palestine from the river to the sea.
Now, from the river to the sea is a anti-Fatah statement for the annihilation of the Jews. How this person's allowed to stand up there and bung this on in the middle of Sydney, it's got me beat.
I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Ethan is a free Palestine activist. He's an Indigenous activist.
Palestine is taking place on.
Now, I happen to be of Middle Eastern descent, believe it or not, and Aboriginal descent. And if I had my way, that bloke would not be standing there doing what he's doing and saying what he's saying, because it's absolutely got nothing to do with the Aboriginals. The Aboriginals have got enough on their plate without people like this parading themselves as Aboriginals to try and they've gotten involved in something that really they can't fix. They can't even fix themselves, so I don't know what they're trying to do. Why aren't they going along with Trump like everybody else? Listen, let's see what this guy's got to say for himself.
And where colonisation never ended. And when we chant Free Palestine, we are also saying free this land.
Now, hang on, he's raving on about the British colonising Australia over the Aboriginals. Right? Well, we're not going to say I am by descent Aboriginal. But I don't expect the colonists to say sorry anymore. I don't expect them to give out any more billions of dollars, even though the corrupt Aboriginals are taking it. And I'm not sure who this guy thinks he represents. This is one mixed up person.
Free all lands from the empires that devour them. So thank you for being here today as well.
So that's hatred towards Australia. That's hatred towards the democracy of Australia, despite everything that the Australians have given to the Aboriginal people over and above.
730 days really struck me what Amal just said. 2 years. 2 years since Israel began waging this most recent genocide.
Hang on a sec, so he's deluded. 2 years since Israel started a genocide. 2 years since Israel started to wipe out Hamas. Right, these people are not using the word genocide in its right context. They haven't got a clue. If you're running a genocide, you're not sending tons and hundreds and thousands of tons of food in there to feed the population.
Gaza. 2 years of hospitals bombed, of journalists.
Now, 2 years of hospital bombs. Watch this, viewers. Watch this. Give me a sec. Now, this is what the useful idiots are not going to tell you. This is coming out of the UNRWA headquarters. Okay, headquarters. UNRWA headquarters. And it's not unsimilar to what is been coming out and going into the hospitals as well. Watch this.
I'm Francis Sternley, and this is Ukraine, the latest.
So you got these idiots in Sydney doing all this. They're not going to help the Palestinians and whatever else. Somebody in this demonstration just said Israel had no right to defend itself, which is completely ludicrous. I'm just going to show you what Australia should really be like. Or what Australia is really like if you don't become a useful idiot like these people. Now this is Sydney. This is what Sydney's all about. Now the funny part about this is that Gaza is along the coastline. Okay? Gaza is along the coastline. Why couldn't Hamas, who was the government of Gaza, produce a lifestyle like this for the Palestinians? Come on, let's get down to the meat and potatoes of all this. Why couldn't they? Because they were too busy wanting to destroy the Jews. That's all it was. And they haven't changed their determination. It's still the same today. But the coastline at Gaza is no different to the coastline of Sydney. And you've got these useless idiots trying to make out that the Palestinians are some kind of, or Hamas is all the, you know, on the end of some kind of abuse. But it's only a matter of time before Hamas and that will do the same thing again, because they want to destroy the Jews. They don't want a civilization like we've got. Israel has. They've got a 20% Muslim population in Israel. They all seem to live relatively peaceful until one of the Muslims wants to shoot up a bus or run cars into people at cafes and all the rest of it. You know. They were never going to give the Palestinian people a lifestyle like this. They just weren't going to do it. And just in closing, this is me the other day enjoying Australia. You can't beat that. Now, I'd love to go and do that in Palestine, and I'm sure they've got good waves. But that's what the Palestinians could have had. All of this, if the government Hamas had been civilized. But they're not civilized. They're not civilized at all. And they are never going to give the Palestinian people a life that has meaning and prosperity and happiness. I'm out, viewers.